Good evening. I'm sorry that I can't be better quality about this. This is kind of like field work. I got a nice courtyard to be in here tonight again. There's a nice breeze, but the sounds are the sounds of oppression. As usual, as they've been for more than 26 years, from an oppressivist operation, they're breaking into the various sounds and arguing at me again. One of the men, unfortunately, wanted me to believe that he was Vice President Biden, but I'm guessing that he isn't. It is true, however, that former presidents had, on occasion, participated with the broadcasting confusion. Unfortunately, I think a reason for harassing tonight was that earlier today, a woman, very concerned sounding, said that there are some whom are very against some previously made videos that I have on my file being put onto YouTube. I had previously thought that putting them onto Real Player was getting them viewed by the public, but I guess I was wrong. Anyway, about the only message, the only concern I can think of that others might have been, some of corruption might have been worried about, was an unfortunate day back in, I forget exactly when it was, around 2007 perhaps, 2006. I was on a transit bus here in Sarasota, arriving to Sarasota Pavilion, and a man wanting to sound exactly like George W. Bush and portraying himself as being, get into the bus sound. Uh, all the writers hear how much echoing loud broadcasting there is in the sounds of buses. Well, on one day he got into the sound of the bus saying that he was with a consensus to burn Americans. Now, I might have already said that in one of these messages, but in case I hadn't, I decided I should mention it again. You know, it is so outrageous when there's so many difficulties to worry about pertaining to partly to foreign adversaries that um, Americans have to worry about the possibility of a very subversive church and others conspiring to burn our people from within our own governments. Well, let's hope and pray that everyone is safe instead. Anyway, I've diverted slightly because of what my message was going to be, because of the constant nonstop harassment that is continuing to be focused at me. And it could be that all these messages are being censored off the air anyway. But I decided to start tonight to get back to the subject of last night's message about the pre-dawn morning of what looked like a sudden double morning star. There, in the position where the morning star, what I assumed was the morning star, was that there was suddenly two, and then after the sudden formation, there was what looked like an orangish explosion. Well, there had been one previous incident involving the morning star, and I want to say and emphasize that any of this is already known to adversaries. You know, any kind of event that has two sides to the story is that the adversarial side of the story was already known to the adversaries, right? So this can't be a matter of any wanting to cause unnecessary attention to myself about for any personal reasons, but to be thorough about a possible progression that had been involved before what I described happening on the morning of 1998. And of course, there is a fact that personally I'd like to have matters resolved and finally get helped about it all. But certainly, what can anybody do about it if nobody else knows about anything? I've been writing to newspapers about such matters for many years now. When I first gained some stability after being forced to be homeless along the roadside through the 90s, beginning in about 2001, one of the first destinations for a summary of the years was Congress, you know. So I've been working on the matters for a long time, and I've got an extensive file to prove it, but I haven't been getting anywhere about it. I haven't been getting any replies. So anyway, this other message pertaining to the Morning Star was from an event that I experienced in the summer of 1990. It was the first time that I'd ever been forced to homelessness, and it was because of an echoing, reverberating abuse blitz that had started to be focused at me, traffic broadcasting mostly, soon after the inauguration of George Herbert Walker Bush in early 1989. Well, anyway, I didn't like the idea of being homeless and vulnerable to what was made to sound like an imminent threat all the time. So I decided, well, until there's going to be help, maybe I'll just see if I can get, stay out on Lido Beach. So I spent a lot of nights out on Lido Beach back then, across from the Holiday Inn. And on one early morning, I woke just after dawn. The sun hadn't risen yet, but there was early morning light. And I was laying on a rental chair across from the Holiday Inn, facing the Gulf of Mexico. And I was still tired. I guess the noise had kept me awake late the night before. And honestly, unless I had some beers to drink back then, it was almost impossible to sleep. So anyway, I was tired, and there was a usual criminal ranting in the sound of the surf even. But then suddenly, some very pretty ladies started singing a Christmas song. Christ the Savior is born. Well, anyway, in the sound of the surf, I looked over my shoulder towards the eastern sky and saw the morning star rising. I assumed it was the morning star. It was very bright, the brightest star in the sky. So anyway, I don't know why, but somehow a thin beam occurred, emanating between my position and the star, and somehow what looked like a silvery cratered core appeared in the middle of it, and I don't know why, but it occurred and was plainly visible for some seconds. I don't know, maybe 10 or 20 seconds, whatever. So anyway, I don't know why the incident happened, but it was at the same time that there was some lady singing very affectionately, and as as the sun continued to rise, the scene of the morning star began to fade from view, and then the sound of the nice lady singing started to fade and was replaced by the criminal in the surf, whom immediately paused for just a moment of silence, and then he said, "That star didn't brighten up like that just then." Well, anyway, that was the only other incident that I recall that had anything to do with the morning star. I don't know if the indication was that some kind of a space vehicle had been put on it, or whatever, but I am convinced that the ladies of the morning were just wanting to be nice, and I'm sure that they and others understand that I never that I never spread any rumors of myself, and didn't have any beliefs about myself religiously or anything. This is still a matter of reacting to the results of much earlier in life rumoring that I at first didn't know about. So anyway, what ended up happening in the pre-dawn morning of 1998 is still a mystery. As I said on some mornings afterward, that the two objects were seen gradually separating from each other, and well, there was something real. Maybe there were satellites, or maybe there was, for some reason, it had been a necessity for some kind of a sudden creation, but I don't know. Anyway, again, I'm always for our people remaining safe, for our nation remaining secure, and hopefully, hopefully these messages will make people a little bit safer in the